Welcome to Brain Break. I'm Lloyd James, and this is where we uncover real stories of people who are changing the game. No surface level stories, just raw, honest conversations about the challenges they have faced and what truly shaped them to be what they are today. Let's get into today's episode. Alanah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on to the Brain Breaks, the podcast.
Thanks.
It's an absolute pleasure. Alanah, I've known you, we were having a chat when you arrived, right? I've known you, since probably that 2016?
Yeah, I think 2016, 2017 time. It was like just out of I finished high school kind of time, and I was kind of exploring the media side of what Perth has to offer.
Yeah. And I remember that, you were saying to me, you were an athlete, super dedicated at your sport.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back on where you grew up?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
My background?
Yeah.
Sure. So I grew up in Gingin, which is, back when I grew up, it was like a small country town. Now it's definitely a lot larger than what I grew up in. So I grew up on a farm with my family, 30 kilometers out of Gingin. So, I grew up in a small town, but I was always like, we had to drive into town and stuff like that. Pretty much did anything the town would offer. I just say I did that because I wanted to get out farm work. That's what I tell mum now. So grew up, I loved the childhood I had. Like I grew up in a country town, so there was so much freedom. You could walk around, you felt safe in the community, you knew everyone. It was just such a wholesome, childhood that kind of allowed me to just explore and challenge myself, without any limitations that I now, progress. And then pretty much it wasn't until high school that I actually started athletics. So I went to private school in Swan Valley. Swan Christian College is where I started attending. And I was always good when I was young as, track and field or athletics is, you do. But it wasn't like I didn't take it anything serious. I always actually thought netball was like my path. And then when I went to high school, I was actually winning the races already and kind of got introduced to little athletics and then progressed from little athletics into like the senior championships and pretty much made my first Australian junior team in 2016.
Wow.
So, yeah, first kind of Australian team as a junior in the 400-meter hurdles, and then pretty much got this taste of the sport and pretty much my dream to become an Olympian that started then.
That's absolutely incredible. Gingin,
yeah.
25 kilometres away from Perth CBD, roughly, you were saying?
So, no, I lived 30 kilometres out of Gingin, and Gingin's about an hour and a half from the city. So it's not like far, but it's still like country kind of town vibes.
It's far enough for Uber not to come and deliver you an Uber takeaway.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, no, we don't want to be doing that. Yeah, no.
Tell me a little bit more about you at school. What sort of student were you at school?
I was never like smart. Like I wouldn't say I was like the most smart person. I always applied myself, but I would always struggle, to get the grades and things like that. So I think I love to try everything and do everything, but I was never like the best academically into school wise. So I was definitely the sports person, as people would say in high school. So I never actually thought I would ever go to university when I graduated high school. I always kind of was trying to figure out other opportunities, maybe go into like event management or hospitality. I just didn't have the grades. Well, I didn't think I was good enough to continue studying at a higher level. I'd always be like, please get degrees. You get a pass, and that was happy enough for me. So walking away now, going to university in America, and then now walking away with 2 degrees and like a degree and a master's, I'm still like, holy crap, pretty much, because I never really thought that was something for me. So yeah, that was pretty much me throughout high school. Just to apply myself as much as I can, take every opportunity, but just never really had the academic side of that.
So obviously you're applying yourself at school, and you like you're saying you don't feel like you're the most brainiest in a way in that environment.
Yeah.
What was it like with your parents? Did they push you to go and chase a traditional 9-to-5 job? What was that like? What was your relationship with your parents' school and you trying to, until you discovered
going into the athletics?
So mum and my parents are really supportive in anything we do. So my mum, they're Croatian background. So my mum, her parents are descended from Croatia. So she didn't really get the opportunities to do, what she wanted to do when she was younger. So she was a big advocate to follow our dreams, whatever that may be. So, if we had any idea or had any passion in any sport or activity, she would push us to explore the opportunity. And I'm so grateful to have that kind of, parenting, to have such a supportive parents. I know because some people just don't have the opportunity. So although she kind of knew sports and other activities probably didn't, make money, she still continued to push us into the avenue where we could explore opportunities and, challenge ourselves, other ways. Because there was other activities, there was like scouts and there was maybe like other sports that we could do as well. So she allowed us to make sure we tried everything and anything.
Sounds like you got brothers and sisters.
I have
involved?
two older brothers.
So, okay.
So they like to call me the golden child.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
So
baby girl, and yeah.
So what? I presume they were quite protective of you then.
Yes. So my oldest one, he's I think 5 years older than me. So I was always closer with the middle one growing up. And now me and the older one have reconnected and a lot closer as well. So yeah, they're both really protective and massive advocates for me. That's really special. Yeah.
Incredible. So you're saying around about the age of 16, you thought I could become an Olympian or go for the Olympics.
Yeah, so it was probably 2016, I was about 18, 19 then. So I think 19 years old is when I kind of finished high school, kind of thought that, okay, wasn't really going for study-wise, education. And then I was like, let me just kind of pursue athletics. And then after my Australian junior team, I was transitioning from a junior to a senior. And that transition for me was really hard, just because obviously I didn't come from a financial background family-wise. My families are farmers. For me to continue my sport, I had to move out of home. So then I had to start renting. And then rent, you got to have a job to pay for the rent. So
Take us back. You're saying a junior, right? What does that? I'm definitely not from an athletics background. Okay, I have a good idea on various sports and what it takes to get to a professional level, but that junior aspect of things. So when you say junior, that starts from school, right?
So a junior is anyone under 20, like under 20s. So 19 all the way down to you might be 12 years old. So I find like for athletics specifically, there's a lot of support as a junior athlete because there's a lot more programs. There's a lot more clubs, because obviously a lot of people are trying to get their kids into athletics. And so there's a lot more support as a junior and there's a lot more programs that Australia has for offer. And then when you transition from a junior to senior, you're competing against people that, you're then turned 20. So then you're competing against people that may be 27 or 28. So you come into a big ballpark now. So you've gone from a junior, you kind of staying with your age group. So as a junior, you might be racing everyone that's 19 years old or 18 years old. But then when you transition to a senior, then open to everyone. And there's not as much support from a junior to a senior. So when you're a senior, it's kind of everyone for themselves then.
And so do they give you much education background or any kind of support to transition from junior to senior?
There's definitely some support. I was during that time was in W Institute of Sport, and they definitely helped me trying to figure out. But at the end of the day, my sport doesn't have the money to give out too much resource as well. So yes, it's great that I was a junior and I was progressing well, but it's also like, okay, I had to move to the city to continue my athletics if I wanted to continue. Okay, how am I going to pay for that? I don't get financial support anyway from the institute or from Australia. Unfortunately, our sport is just the way it is. So for me to do that, I had to find a job, and then now I'm working hours to pay for it. And for me at that time, I was working a barista job, so I'm standing on my feet all day, and I didn't realize that me just being on my feet all day is actually impacting my training. So just things like that.
And so what I find really interesting, you sharing this, is that you obviously had that passion, or you found the fact that, there's something you really enjoy, right? And you lent into like, okay, I want to continue pursuing this. And you're going to move from, a remote country town or come to Perth, and you standing on your feet, serving coffees all day.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes mental challenge, and that kind of, there has to be a certain amount of downs going through that process. Do you remember any particular moment that you were, maybe in a dark spot and you thought, is this really worth pursuing or doing, and how did you overcome that?
I don't necessarily straight away. So I had moved out of home. I was working, and then I decided to potentially. I think it was around 2018. I decided to go to university just to give it a shot because kind of everyone was doing it, and I was kind of a bit lost. So I started to do a double degree in marketing and management, just because obviously I really loved social media, loved kind of that side of things of what hospitality kind of offered as well. So I wanted to explore that. It was kind of during that time that I was trying to work, study, and train that I was just getting burnt out. Um, and I was just like mentally a bit just like something, and you kind of something had to give, but I just kind of kept, on that rat race or on that hamster wheel, kept going. So most of my days would consume it like waking up at 5 a.m., going to the cafe from 6 till I think 11 o'clock, then jumping on a train to get down to Notre Dame, study from Notre Dame. I was there probably from like 11 till 3 o'clock, back on the train, go to training from 4:30 to 5, 6:30, and then get home, try and eat food, try and get some study in. And it was just like this rat race, like continuously day in, day out. That was my life for what, a year. And I just kind of was like I was just kind of burnt out and just kind of like, what am I doing kind of situation. So
there was a certain element you felt a little bit lost.
I was lost.
You didn't know what.
I was trying to do too much, and I was even sometimes working a bar job just to like, achieve some more money to potentially, I don't know what for, because I thought, I had to get ahead. But
But you're saying you're getting ahead, and you're obviously trying to keep yourself afloat,
Mhm.
pay for your rent, your lifestyle, which I presume would be relatively minimal to a certain extent.
definitely minimal.
Um,
Yeah.
So from that, and you're saying now that you didn't really have an end goal,
No.
but was the Olympics always at the back of your mind?
It was the context is because I'm in WA. We're not as exposed to athletics as much. So we obviously, whenever we have to compete, we have to travel over east. So all the best girls are over east usually. So it's really hard for me to. I would kind of lose that dream in a sense of that Olympic dream. Like obviously, it's what every athlete is working towards. I definitely felt like that dream was a lot stronger when I was a junior. To probably 3 years later, I was kind of just like, it's always there, but it didn't really seem like a reality because my times weren't progressing as quickly as I thought. I was just like a little bit unhappy. I was just like getting pulled in other ways. And that's kind of why I decided to go into a degree, because I was like, athletics isn't really progressing as much as I thought. So unfortunately, the sport doesn't pay. So how else am I going to support myself? And my mum's also a massive advocate to say, make sure you have something, lined up for after sport or just in life, because you don't know if a serious injury is going to happen. So what do you have to back yourself, in that sense? Because you never know what happens in life. You might get thrown an obstacle. For instance, COVID happened. We can't plan for that. So you just kind of have to have your, eggs aligned just in case something happens later in the life.
And you're saying that all of this whilst you were in Perth, trying to make ends meet, so to speak, and you just touched on it, COVID happened.
Yeah.
Did you really think at that point, because obviously no one really knew how long the COVID pandemic was going to last,
Yeah.
that you must have just thought, you were going in a spiral of like, waking up at 5, doing your barista job, go and study, come home, study some more, try and get some food and try and get some
Get a social life in as well.
right. So you're trying to do all of those things,
Yeah.
and then a pandemic takes place.
Yeah.
What sort of effect did that take on your mental health?
So I actually decided that year before COVID is when I moved to America. So I was actually in America when COVID hit. So it wasn't till then is when the COVID. So I think I decided to 2000 mid-19. I was a year into my degree, and I kind of knew like something had to give. I was training, studying something like that, and I kind of got presented an opportunity to go study in America. Now we always kind of get this opportunity as a junior, but you never really think much of it. Like we haven't seen, there hasn't been too much push of athletes going over to America in athletics specifically. So it wasn't, I was kind of like, not frowned upon, but I was kind of like, oh, what is this opportunity situation? So I kind of was, got presented the opportunity to go study in the US, at the University of Texas, San Antonio. So actually one of my friends was going to that university, and he happened to be on the phone to the head coach, and I was just happened to be in the space. Like this is just a coincidence of times. Like
So I was going to
But,
say,
yeah.
you obviously.
I didn't actually think like I was going to go to US at this time. So 2019, I think it was about May time, he was on the phone to one of the coaches, and I just happened to be
Literally live. You were just on.
literally, he was on the phone to one of the coaches. He's already secured to go to this university. So he finished his undergrad and he was looking to go do his master's in the US. So he's just secured with the US at the school. And we happened to be on the phone with the school, and then he was like, oh, like my friend Alanah's here. And next minute he just passes me the phone and I'm just talking to like the coach. Now the coach is really chill. Like it wasn't like a formal conversation or anything like that. And next minute I know he's like asking me like my stats, what am I doing, my life. And he's like, let me get back to you. So then he goes back, and the next day I get on a phone call from him saying like, we need more information about you. Like that's, so things like that. So pretty much within, I think, a few weeks, I had an offer for a full ride to go to university. And I was like, well, damn, like maybe this is something that I should explore a bit more. So this was around June time. Now school started in August for America. I was like, well, let me just explore what other opportunities I had. So I reached out to some other colleges, and I had a lot of colleges really interested in me, but they just didn't have the money at that point in time because it was so late in the year to offer me a full ride. And I was like, I knew that I couldn't go anywhere without a full ride. Like I don't come from a financial background. I was already working, studying, and training in Australia. So I knew that for me to change something had to give. So I was like, no, I'd rather go to this other school that's offering me a full ride because I don't want to have to stress. And before I know it, I was packing my life up in 2 suitcases and moving my life over to the US. So
That's absolutely crazy.
within literally, I think it was like 2 or 3 months, my life just went from burning out to packing my life up to the US.
And I find that absolutely fascinating. But do you? Let's just take back just a moment.
Sorry, I know.
That's okay. That's more than okay. I'm really interested in understanding how people transition from A to B, right? Because when situations happen, it's either you work and you got a plan and you got a strategy on how to get from A to B, or sometimes things happen. It sounds like in this instance, you were there at the right time,
Yes.
right place, and you're on the phone to your best friend or your friend.
Yeah.
Do you believe in luck?
I believe in like there is a time. I massively I don't think it's luck. I just think that if there's an opportunity presented to you, take it. And I don't think there's necessarily like a right time, right thing situation. I think it's also I think there is definitely a plan for the universe, but you have to be brave enough and bold enough to take that opportunity and go with it. Because I think everyone has opportunities and things come across their life, but I think you have to be brave enough and bold enough to take those opportunities and run with it. So I don't necessarily think it's luck. I think it's more that you just have to be bold enough to take those chances and take those opportunities. And I believe that I am definitely say that I sometimes aren't brave enough to take some chances, but at that time I did the FU moment and said, what have I got to lose?
I love that.
And that's what the coach, we had to talk about it, and I was kind of unsure at first of if college wasn't. He said, come for a year. If you don't like it, leave. And I was like, what's 1 year? I'm getting my education paid. I'm not losing any cost. My only cost was going to be flying over to America, but also it's I get to travel around America for a year for free. So I went for a year. COVID happened.
Then you can't do much when that took place.
Yeah, I decided to stay in America during COVID because one, I didn't really have the finances to fly back to Australia, and flights were crazy, and then having to pay for quarantine and all of that situation. And I was like, well, I got presented this opportunity and I committed myself to go for a year. So I'm going to go for that year. So I decided to stay in the US. US wasn't that strict on lockdown. So I was able to still train. I was able to still do everything within, reason. Obviously we had to isolate and everything like that. I also took the opportunity to travel around America during lockdown. So me and a friend jumped in a car and we did the outback of not outback, but the middle of America. So I was able to travel around and make the most of the opportunity. And then pretty much within a year and a half, I think a few years later, year and a half later, I finished my undergrad and they offered me a master's degree. And it's when do I ever get an opportunity to get my undergrad paid for and get a master's degree? So
and being able to train at the same time.
And able to train. Everything was looked after financially.
But I was going to say, apart from the financial aspect of things, which, you were grinding as a barista and trying to make ends meet here in Perth. So although you're studying and you're chasing your passion in 400
meter hurdles, yes.
400 meter hurdles. So if you take that financial aspect away, did you feel happier?
it was, I wouldn't, so I'd say quality of life here in Australia is definitely better,
Okay.
just quality of life, but the opportunities that America presented were better. So I was racing against the best of the best athletes because all athletes in Europe and China, everywhere, Asia, they all go to the US because they know that's where the best athletes are racing. So I got to challenge myself against some of the best athletes the world has. The facilities in America are unbeatable. Like, just what we have here, it puts like my college is a small D1 school and they had better
Sorry, say that
facilities.
again.
It's my university I went to, the
Yep.
university is a smaller D1 school. So D1 is like the big program.
Okay.
So there's like, I think 100, there's a lot of schools within the program, but mine's like a smaller school. So it's not like one of the top schools to go to for sport. But the fact that my school had better facilities than what Australia has as an institute or some of the top, places is mind blowing.
Give us a little bit more insight what that looks like. I mean, look, hey,
So-
I I've travelled around my gyms in Perth.
Yeah.
Gone from a fit stop.
Yeah.
All done for you. You arrive there, the weights are there in place, and they give you good encouragement for the 45 minutes to all the way to the snap fitnesses.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a bit more what that looks like inside the gym facility.
Just within the gym. So for instance, like there's only one WA track. There's only one track here in WA or two tracks. And my school had their own track. No one else could go on the athletics track. It was just designed for us. Then we had a massive gym. Now the new building got built when I was there. It was a $40 million complex, which is like $60 million in Australian. And there was about 20 squat racks in the gym. There was an underwater treadmill. There was Ultra Gs. There was physio rooms. There was treatment rooms of recovery boots whenever you wanted to. There was an ice bath, hot tub, physio treatment 24/7 pretty much. There's a nutrition bar so you can get protein shakes and snacks whenever you wanted to. They literally make it there so you can succeed. And it's just like mind blowing of the support that's there.
What does the university there or the college
Yeah.
get out of you if you win? Because obviously they invest
Yeah.
a
So
lot of money and time into you as an athlete.
most of the money gets done through the football. So football is the massive money maker there.
NFL, which is
NFL,
that.
yes. So that's college NFL is actually probably, I would say it's more money than the actual NFL pro teams. Just because how much media and stuff is there. But
Sorry, you're saying college is more
college is, I wouldn't say more money, but there's more hype in the situation.
Okay.
And college also does a good system of like alumni. It's a big tax write-off for businesses. So
Interesting.
that's why there's so much money, because alumni will go start their entrepreneur business and stuff like that. And for them to have a tax write-off, they'll donate to the college.
That's interesting.
So that's how they make money.
That's very
College is benefiting because they're getting donors. And donors are getting a tax write-off.
right.
So that's where the big system is.
So we don't have anything like
We
that
don't
sort
have
here.
anything like that here. That's
How
why
interesting.
people always how is there so much money getting thrown around? Is because there's massive tax write-offs for these individuals.
That's really interesting, you see.
Yeah.
So I kind of like think all the time about, as an entrepreneur and founder, is you've got to try and find ways that eventually to be able to make your money go as far as possible. But that's super interesting, the fact that they use that system to be able to elevate the game. But not only that, does that uncover grassroots athletes of that some sort? Because if I'm a business and I'm donating or I'm giving money to a sport or to a college, obviously that gives them funding. Then that means they've got more space to be able to find people like you to go and invest in, right?
Yeah, so it's not so much, alumni don't really, when they donate money, the money goes towards the program. It's more facilities. So the money doesn't necessarily come to us athletes, but us athletes benefit from that. So it's more like that's the cycle of the things. Now, there's a new system now where there's NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. It's pretty much came in when I was finishing school. And now it's where it allows brands to now sponsor individual athletes and donors can now. So now that's a whole other system. So now actual businesses can sponsor and give money to college athletes, which is, I think it's massive in the fact that, we now have control over our name and our image and our likeness and the way that we promote ourselves as a college athlete. And I think it's keeping a lot of athletes within the college system and to promote them. Because I think a lot of college athletes sometimes will go to college and then they'll drop out to go pro to facilitate that.
Yeah.
But now because they can make money from themselves. But I also think that there's a lot of political situation as well, because now there's some athletes that are getting paid to go to other schools. Like some big athletes are getting maybe $100 contracts just to go to a school,
That's nuts.
and they're getting obviously everything else on top of that as well.
That's crazy. What I find really interesting is that you get shipped to America with some kind of a bit of luck there, the fact you were there at the right time on that phone call.
Yeah.
You briefly touched on there was other colleges interested in
Yeah.
you. So obviously the word got out.
So yeah, I reached out to other schools.
Oh, you reached
Yeah, I
out.
reached out. Yeah. So
So you thought, hold on, if he's offering me
yeah,
something
it
or
was
that
more- it was-
college,
let me like see what other opportunities are out there, because I was like, I'm not going to just jump at this one opportunity. Like it'd be, obviously you don't know. Like I was just.
so how did you go about that?
So I just emailed them. Yeah.
Just emailed them.
You just email
be
the school.
bold.
You just kind of, yeah. Well, the thing is that they're receiving multiple emails
Right.
every day from hundreds and thousands of athletes. So
Because they want to get that sponsorship, right? Or
they want
sorry.
to find the best athletes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can go through an agency. Sometimes the agency will have connections to universities and stuff like that. But I was just like, let me just reach out to these schools. And I didn't really know much. I think if I knew now what I knew before, I definitely go straight after high school and go to probably not so much a top of school, but I also think there's a plan now that I'm looked up, now that I've gone through it. It's not so much if I could go back, it's more like what can I tell the next person? Because I don't think I would change my journey whatsoever. I think I just advise now other people on their journey.
I want to deep dive a bit more about this journey at college, because I find that interesting in the fact that in your field of sport that we focus on NFL, the football.
Yeah.
And obviously, the goal is to go and play for one of the, the big clubs,
Yeah.
and get paid and so on. But if you're given the facilities, you'll get given the education platform to study as much as you want. What is the end goal as an athlete to be able to sustain that in a long period of time? Like, if you're a soccer player, you go play for a soccer team.
Yes.
And you hope to play for the club, the club pay you a wage. Is it like that in the athletics world? What does that look like?
So for college, they will try and take advantage. Well, not all schools. I'm not going to say all schools, but I find that a lot of schools will take advantage of you for that 4 years they have there, and they will grind you. So that's why a lot of people sometimes not frown upon American college system, but they are cautious of it, because at the end of the day, they're investing in you. They're going to get their money's worth of you. So they're going to not burn you out, but they're going to make sure that you are at the top of their peak when they want you to. So I find sometimes what will happen is that they want you to peak for their championships. And for instance, I'm an Australian, so I might want to go represent Australia. Well, I'm sorry, but you're dedicated to the school. Your focus is the school. We don't really care about your Australian championships. You're here with us. So they want to peak. And sometimes there's schools that will rather like have the Australian representation because it makes their school look good. So it's like, now they can say, oh, Alanah Yukich, she's an Olympian. She went to our school. So it just depends what the motivation of the school wants. Sometimes they want the success while you're there. Sometimes what people want the success when they're outside. Now, there's a massive example right now is that there's a lot of Americans. Obviously, to make an Olympic American team as a track and field is insane. It's hard. It's pretty much like an Olympic championships, just going to their trials. So there's a lot of colleges that are pushing athletes to find citizenship otherwise. So if they've got a dual citizenship, so if their mum might be like from Colombia, whatever, they're pushing the athlete to try and get the Colombian citizenship so they can then represent their country at the Olympics, because they have a better chance of representing another country than the US, and that makes their school look better because they've got more Olympians.
That's incredible. That's so interesting.
It's so crazy.
So a lot of that kind of stuff that unless you're there, you wouldn't really know about it. And obviously, young athletes listening to this, people in the junior time of their times at the moment right now hearing that, I'm sure there's so much value that you're giving for them to potentially consider, and think about. So can you tell me a defining moment, whether it was, I presume this would have been in America, but can you define a defining moment of when you thought, yes, I've got a shot at going to the Olympics?
So I graduate college in 2023, end of June, and I had this decision to make. Obviously, I finished my undergrad, finished my master's, and I finished with school, like eligibility for college in America. And I was just like, what the hell now? Like, what do? I am in America. I've just finished my degree. Like, I'm obviously not, I didn't feel like I was done with sport yet. Like, I wasn't satisfied with track and field yet. Like, I still haven't felt like I'd peaked yet. And I had this massive decision, do I come back to a WA? Do I come back to Australia? But I knew that it took me a year to kind of adjust from Australia to America. So I was like, I could go back home to Australia, but I don't want to go back to WA because I've already kind of used all the resources there. There's nothing left for me in WA, is in the fact of like coaching wise. And then I was like, if I wanted to go over east, then I have to set up a whole life. And I'm not like, it's 1 year to the Olympics. I don't have the time to set up my life. So I was fortunate enough to already have a base in America. At that time I had a partner, so I was living with them. And then had this like weird connection, like once again, like I had this connection, just things happened. So my head coach at college actually connected me with a professional coach outside of college. So she was based in Texas where I was living.
What's her name?
Rose Monday.
Rose Monday. I've seen her on your socials.
Yeah, she's the crazy redhead.
Crazy redhead. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got connected with her, and so I decided to stay, and I was going to continue to train on with the college at that time, because I was like, let me just see what else I can do with with that coach that I really liked. And then things happened. I couldn't train with the college anymore. So then the coach connected me with Rose Monday. Now, like, I didn't know who she was really. I was like already committed to staying in America for that 1 year. And when I say me and her connected, like, it was just meant to be. It was just meant to be. So me and her connected around October of 2023. Now, the Olympics was in 2024. June is when selection finishes. So it was less than a year, and I was moving to a coach. So yeah, it was a risky move, but I also was like, I've got nothing to lose. Like, I would have had to move coaches somewhere else. And I remember me and her sitting down, and we were just like, she asked me, what are your goals? Because, and I was like, I want to make the Olympics. And she just not laughed at me, but she's like, oh, we've got some work to do.
But she believed in you, right?
She believed in me. She believed in, the journey. She believed in her training and the program. And I said to her as well, because she wasn't a hurdle coach. She was more of a 4, 8, 15 runner coach.
Sorry, what's a 4, 8, 15?
400 meters, 800 meters, 1500 meters. So she's more of a middle distance endurance kind of coach.
So are you saying that like the different distances require different coaches?
Oh yeah, every event has their own specific
Okay. Because of the training regime,
the training program, how they apply it. Now for 400 meters, you can either be so obviously I do hurdles, but you still need to train to be a good hurdler. You have to have a good 400 meter flat time.
Sure.
Now there's two ways as a 400 meter runner you could go. You could be more of a 2-4 runner, so more of a speed based, or you could be a 4-8 runner, which is a bit more endurance based.
Yes.
Now I was always a 2-4 runner going through college and upbringing, and Rose was obviously more of a 4-8 coach. So I was like, I've already tried being a sprinter. Not tried, but and I knew that my endurance was always lacking. So that kind of was like why I kind of moved to Rose, is because this is the area that I was weak in. For me to be better, I need to challenge myself and step outside of my comfort zone to try. Because if I don't try, who knows? Whoever knows? Like, I've already tried this other system, and it was working, but it wasn't working the progression that I wanted it to. So then when I went to Rose, we decided that, okay, for me to make the Olympics, what does that look like? Do I try and qualify in an individual race, which is my 400 meter hurdles? Or do we focus more on the relay program? Because obviously with the relay, they take 5 girls. So the chances of me making it is a higher chance to make a relay team than an individual event. So we focused.
I was going to cut you off there. Sorry to apologize. Is there a lot of strategy involved in that to try and maximize your opportunity to go to the Olympics?
Well, the thing is that like I finished college and I didn't have the time necessarily projected to go to the Olympics straight away. Like,
really? So
no.
To your
finished
time.
college. So yeah. So for example, my time finishing college was a 57 flat for a 400 hurdles. Okay.
57 seconds to complete 400
meter hurdles.
Yeah, hurdles.
The automatic qualifying time was a 54.85. So I was about 2.5 seconds off the qualifying time.
And that's a lifetime in the
That's a lot. Sport. Like, most people don't drop a second. You drop like half a second maybe in a season, like those you don't really make those progressions.
So you had work.
I had a lot of work to do. Even in a 400 meter flat, I was running about a 54 seconds in a flat 400. Yeah. And I need to get down to a 52 to make a relay program. But I knew I had that deep down. I had more, like I had that time there. I just knew that things weren't coming together. If it was timing, obviously in college, I was still stressed from school as well. So I had external factors. So yes, I might have been able to do it within college, but I also was like, when do I get a master's degree paid for? Like, that to me was more important at that time than trying to be the best athlete, because when can you ever get that?
I mean, you got presented a great opportunity there, and then so you meet Rose Monday.
Mhm.
But you finished school,
Yeah.
college, university, whatever we call it, right? But how did you fund it after that?
So
Because you're saying that
Yeah.
the stress. So
no,
quick recap. Perth, stress because of financials, having to do barista job, study
Yeah.
and train. You go to America, great opportunity. Funding
Yes.
is being cared for. So really, you taking funding, or you're taking the financial aspect of things away, that you don't have to worry about money for the next 3-4 years whilst you're there.
Yes.
So what's sort of subtly burning you out is the studying, your energy being put in the studying, so you can't really perform as much on the track.
So
What happens after?
I actually went to a part-time job. I had to support myself somehow, but I made sure it was part-time. So I was working, I think, 20 to 25 hours a week,
Standing or sitting?
sitting behind marketing. Yeah,
And that was all strategy.
that was all
The part of the strategy is to
Yeah.
make sure you
Well,
conserve your energy,
yeah,
right?
conserve my energy. I was very honest with the work that my work, and saying like, this is my priority. I'm also a massive advocate that I get my work done as well. Like, just because I might not always be in front of their faces, I still go home and I'll do work on my own time, because at the end of the day, my training was my priority, and I trained in the mornings or midday. So I was just obviously fortunate enough to have a flexible job that was allowing me to continue that. So I decided to work for that 6 months and save up as much as I could.
Yeah.
And then went my separate ways after I think December time, because I knew I wanted to fully focus into.
So from there, there's no more. You're solely focused on, doing your best
Yeah.
to get down to that.
Yeah. So I did have some small gigs, like social media obviously pays me. I was also coaching on the side here and there, but my energy was obviously into athletics, and I stand by it that for me to be, the maximum effort I need to be 100% into it. And that's what I said to my coach when I moved to Rose, is that I am 100% committed to your program. Because she could be like, oh, like, I don't know if you hurdles and something. No, I'm 100% committed to you. Said, if I don't go 100% in, I will always be like, what if? What if? I wanted to make sure I eliminated all those what ifs, and went 100% in on me. I 100% committed into the trust and the belief that I will be an Olympian. And I said that to myself from the moment I moved to Rose. Every day for about, I think it wasn't 365 days, but every day I wrote to myself, I said to myself in the mirror, I am an Olympian. And I said that, and I convinced myself every day that I am an Olympian.
Every day
Every day.
you said that in your mind. You had that written down.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I would say it to myself. I convinced myself that I was going to be an Olympian.
That's so that's incredible. You used your mindset to be able to like transform what was in your mind.
Yeah.
You're at college, and probably by then you thought Olympics could be reachable.
It's there, but it's also like, I wasn't, like, no one thought I was ever going to qualify, ever.
Yeah, right.
Like, if you ask people at the start of the season, who do you think, I would have been on the bottom of that list?
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's all down to your mindset.
It's mindset. Oh,
Did anyone? Did you ever come across anyone? Maybe Rose Monday, but was there a switch in your mind to get that mindset switched over? Because if you actually think about it, we kind of go through these motions of like trying to figure it out. You're going through a part-time job, then you kind of think, I'm going to go all in. It takes, there has to be an element of stress in your mind thinking, am I going to make it? And there's a risk involved.
Oh, massive.
Because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to invest 6 months to try and get to the Olympics, get that time down.
Yeah.
Right. But how did you train your mind, and how did you stay so focused for the 6 months until you went to the Olympics?
So I would say my maturity as well. Like, I am older than just a junior athlete as well, but Rose was obviously a massive advocate. She believed in me, and just having someone that believed in me so strongly allowed me to have that confidence in myself and to that. And also having an undergrad, I had a minor in psychology, so I understand the power of it. But I didn't fully grasp how powerful our minds are until my year. Like, that year I had, I'm 100%. You can be physically fit, but mentally fit is a whole nother level.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I think it's like, you could be 40% fit, but 6% mindset. Like, I honestly think majority of you people, of everyone succeeding, is mindset. Like, I am now a massive advocate for positive self-talk, for manifestation, for all those things, because without me believing in me and going confidently into that, I wouldn't be sitting here today being able to call myself Olympian. So it's just insane. And it's not
That's so
just,
cool. Just
it's,
by the way,
oh, yeah, thank you.
that's such a cool title, right?
Yeah.
You got your arm director, sound founder, but to say you're an you are. I mean, you are in the percent. Is it a 1%? Less than 1%?
Less than 1%.
It's got to be less than 1%. And people talk about the 1%, but you are in the category less than that.
1%, yes.
That's nuts.
But yeah, no, like just having a positive mindset, and like I didn't necessarily stress too much. Like going into that year, it was more about taking every opportunity possible and enjoying the process as well. And I think just having that positive, positive self-talk, positive outlook on my sport, because at the end of the day, we train so damn hard for what, less than 1 minute on the rat track. So it's like I've
Yeah.
gotten to this point now, it's like we do the hard work. So this is fun. So when I get onto that track, it's all fun. Like whatever happens, it's fun. And that's
So
that's
cool.
the mindset that I kind of went into it.
In that 6 months, was there any real challenging moments that I know let's be real, like, because you keep saying I'm an Olympian, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, initially for the first, I don't know, like say few hours, first week, first couple of weeks, you kind of, yeah, okay, I can do this. But surely 6 months is a long period of time. Do you remember any moments where you thought, what the hell am I doing?
There's definitely moments in the fact like obviously I was away for 4 years from my family, and it's another extra. So I've been away for 5 years from my family, and definitely missing out on significant moments of your friends and family life. It plays a massive toll on you mentally and physically. So that I think was the massive thing that I kind of questioned. It was like, is this really worth it, in the fact that I'm missing out on so much life? Not life, but so many moments that is significant, and you can't get that back, really. Like,
Was there any moments
Oh.
in particular that resonates in your mind right now that you think, I wish I was there for that?
Like, I'm just kind of grateful that like nothing majors happened, in the fact that like, I haven't had any relatives pass away that's significant, that sense. But it's also getting to the point like, people are getting older, grandparents and getting older, and it's like you can't take those times of spending it with them back either.
Producer Riley, have we got some tissues or something?
I'm good.
Are you sure? Yeah,
I'm good.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I
No,
can see. Are you okay? We can cut this bit
no,
out.
I'm so
You-
for showing emotion and everything like that. I'm a massive
Can we get some kind of like tissues or some kind, just in case, like even for like we can have it here. We'll continue our chat, but producer Riley will go get some just in case,
I'm
right?
good.
Okay,
I'm
right.
so massive of showing emotion, because at the end of the day,
But obviously that hit a nerve there, or that hit.
I'm a massive family person, like massive.
Do you
Go
feel
ahead,
like
sorry.
do you feel that like you were neglecting them to a certain extent, or do you feel like you were selfish? I'm
I was
selfish in
never,
doing
no.
this.
And the thing is that people that are close to me understand that I had to do what I did to be where I was. I don't think I would be able to be so successful as I am without having those challenges and having those struggles. But it's also just became it. I turned that that kind of disappointment to fuel. Like I would use that as fuel, as in like, I'm not doing this just for me, it's doing it for everyone. And that was kind of the thing I went through. So the challenge that I also faced massively is because I put so much focus on the 4x4 relay. So the qualification period for the Olympics for a relay is to go to World Relays. Now, World Relays was in May time. So for a team to qualify to the Olympics, so obviously not every country gets to go straight to the Olympics for a relay. So for us to qualify as a team, we had to, first of all, I had to be selected on the Australian team. That was the first kind of hurdle. And I was fortunate enough to be selected in my first senior team. So first tick, goals were going right. Like my goal at that time was to make, obviously, the Olympics. The first minor goal was to get selected for Australia. Tick. Got taken to Bahamas. Now we went to Bahamas. What a terrible place to go to. But unfortunately, us girls, we just missed out on qualifying for the Olympics in that 4x4 relay team.
In the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, yes. So I think
How did that feel?
So it was a bit of mixed emotions for me. So one emotion was like, I actually felt like I belonged in the sport. That was the first major moment that I had made a senior team, and I was able to hold myself against people that I'd idolized. And the fact that I was able to show up on that track, run, and hold myself against some people that I would idolize massively was a massive confidence booster. And that was the feeling that I deserve like this is what I'm meant to be like doing right now.
So there's people there that you would have followed
Oh
on
my
social
God.
media. Would the
I thought that.
sorry, older than I mean the
Older and younger.
older and younger. You thought they're incredible,
They're
and you're
insane.
rubbing shoulders with them.
Yeah. And I'm literally like, I'm getting the baton and running next to them. And I'm just like trying to obviously hold myself.
Of course.
So I was fortunate enough, I say it's fortunate enough to be the anchor leg. So that's a massive pride thing for me, is like having
to be what?
the anchor leg. So it's the last runner of the 4x4.
Okay.
So you're one of the strong, not so much the stronger, but the fact that Australia put the confidence in me to be an anchor leg is a very prideful thing for me. But with that comes a lot of pressure, because when you finish that line, you think it's your fault necessarily. I know it's a team effort, but I kind of felt like I let down the team. And I know like at that time is what the massive thing for me mentally was, a massive struggle, because it's like we just didn't qualify, even though I had ran one of the faster runs, the best run of my life. It still wasn't good enough for the team to qualify.
It's good enough in your personal
Yes.
situation,
But the team,
on the global scale, you're like
we just,
nowhere near it.
yeah.
Or nowhere near it. You're not good enough to qualify for that.
Well, the team wasn't good enough. The team,
yes.
And, it's a team effort at the end of the day. No one's fault or anything like that. We're still growing as a relay program. Australia is, and there's so much more growth that we have to do. But unfortunately for me at that time, that I thought that was the only chance I had to qualify for the Olympics. So it took a massive hit emotionally, just the fact that I felt like I let the team down. I thought this was the only chance I had.
So I was going to say that, like, obviously
that was my massive.
You missed that opportunity, or you didn't get there.
That's what I thought.
What do you think? Do you think my chances are slipping away from getting to the Olympics? How do you come back from that?
So this is a massive rule that I stand by. My coach is a massive advocate for the 24-hour rule. And this is something that I live by forever now, is that you have 24 hours to be pissed off, cry, be upset, yell, scream. But after that 24 hours is up, you have no emotion to give to that anymore. And I stand massively against it, like, for this, because it's such a significant thing that I think it's important to go through the emotions. It's important to process. It's important for it. But you can't keep that emotion going. You can't give that energy to something that's been already. So even now in life, no matter athletics or whatever, I give myself the 24-hour rule. And like, I will be sometimes upset at my coach, but she says 24 hours, that's it. And then after 24 hours, I do not have the energy to give to that problem anymore. So
what was the next defining moment that was the pivotal moment for you to qualify for the Olympics?
Yeah.
What happened there?
So from then, so it was probably maybe mid-May, and qualifying period for the Olympics was end of June. So I had literally a month to try and get my shit together. So I think that fuel of I deserve to be on this world stage, that feeling of being at Bahamas and running against, fueled this kind of like, no, I'm not done yet. And we kind of made this quick switch. So obviously I was still training 400 hurdles in the background, but obviously my attention was the 400 meter flat.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much had to switch this mindset from 400 to 400 meter hurdles. And
just to give you a perspective here, right? Excuse my naivety here, but like, give a bit of perspective. I struggle just jumping over the par. You know what I mean? Like, there's part, oh God, that's a bit of a step. Whatever. I mean, how hard? Give perspective. How high is those hurdles?
Centimeters tall. So they're just like back for me, hip height, roughly.
So it's about the height of a table, roughly. I mean, not this is a coffee table here, but it's about 60. It's about
so obviously you're running
of at desk.
Yes, it's like and you're trying to run at full speed. It's not like it's a jog in the park. You're running at full speed, and these days 400 meter hurdles is one of the most competitive events, and the fact that you have to be not only good at a 400 but also being able to technical wise of 400 hurdles. So it's very competitive.
I'm gonna just ask just one of my a curiosity question here. Is there a number of steps between each hurdle? Like, you kind of think, 1, 2, 3, hop.
No, so it's not like sprint hurdles where they're really close. So there is 10 hurdles spread out around the 400 meter hurdles. Now, with 400 meter hurdles, you have to hurdle on both legs as well. You don't have to, but the majority of athletes have to be comfortable enough to hurdle on both legs. So you obviously had a preferred leg and then you have an unpreferred leg. Now, when you're running at full speed, you can't keep that full speed up the whole way around. So you're obviously going to die a little bit, which just means you're going to add another step in between the hurdles. So it's all about rhythm. It's all about being able to confidently go over a hurdle or confidently be able to manage that. And there's never a perfect race in 400 hurdles. I always think that there's never a perfect race. There's always something that you can improve on. And then just sometimes things just happen to come together. Like even my races at the Olympics, they were never a perfect race. But it's also exciting to think that there's more challenges and stuff out there.
When did you know you qualified for the Olympics?
Oh God, no.
Oh
So-
gosh, you've gone from that to, I've only got 24 hours to like get
So
that
yeah,
pension,
so
right?
I did take myself a bit more than 24 hours, obviously, to move on from that situation. But now for background, I was a nobody for 400 hurdles. So like I didn't have the times to even be considered to sometimes get into an event.
Okay.
So I go back to, obviously I'm based in the US. So after Bahamas, went back to the US. We tried to switch from 400 to 400 hurdles. Now I was just fortunate enough that my coach has some really good connections. And she was able to get me into one race that was confirmed. That was at the end of May. Now this was my first proper hurdle race. I did a hurdle race earlier in the season. This is obviously my first proper hurdle race coming back from Bahamas. Confidence-wise, everything was kind of a bit shocked still. And I was racing against Sydney McLaughlin. Now, for those that don't know, Sydney McLaughlin is the world record holder for 400. She's the absolute GOAT. Like, she is, I think she's better than Usain Bolt. Like, in the fact
Wow,
of how much.
statement.
Oh, yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, she is on another level. And the fact that my first race back was against her, yeah, it was like, holy crap, pretty much.
How do you hold that mentally? Like,
The race didn't go great.
Go
No.
great.
So it was okay. Like I still ran a PB, like which personal
Yeah.
best. But I remember going into that race, I was obviously nervous. I had the outside lane. So outside lane, you don't really see anyone. You don't really know where you are. But the fact
Sorry, what do you mean? Sorry.
outside
What do you mean?
lane,
Yeah, outside. I get, yeah, the outside lane. But what do you mean? You don't see anyone? You don't see what?
because when you're in like lane 9, so when you're in obviously inside, you can kind of like push yourself because you're like, oh, let me try and chase that girl. But when you're in lane 9, you're
yes.
just kind of pushing yourself. But I remember
Yes.
getting like straight away, Sydney was on my, like she was up against me and I was just like trying to hold myself. And I think about halfway through the race, I got so caught off guard that I was racing against Sydney that my last 200 was just not great. So my first execution of the race was good. The last wasn't great. So I remember stepping off that track and I was just like, what just happened? And I wasn't obviously happy with the time. It was still a PB. I'll take a PB. I was still, positives. And I was like to my coach, what's next? Like, I wasn't happy with that. So I think 2 weeks later, I had another race. We were able to get myself into a small last chance kind of meet.
And this is across the US, right?
This is in the US right now. Just wait. Yeah, wait till this.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be good. Go on.
Just wait.
Good suspense. Go on.
My story is insane. I still can't comprehend how I did this. So pretty much one race is done. Now, the system to qualify is you either get an automatic time, which is a 54.85, or there's a world ranking standard. So there's 2 ways you can qualify as an individual athlete. So to be in the world ranking, you have to complete 5 races. You get an average of those times. Those times get points. So you get a point system. So it's kind of like golf. So like in the fact that you first get ranked on your time, then you get ranked of how high that competition is. So like depending how many elite athletes are in there. And then you also get ranked of what position you finish in that race. So what you want to be doing is you want to be going to the highest meets you possibly can and placing well in those and running good times. Now then you get ranked. Those times get
So it's more than just running a good time.
so much more. And then you get ranked against obviously the world. So at that time I was I was literally top 100 maybe. I wasn't even in the ranking system. So
hold on. Just give yourself a bit of credit here. Top 1 or top 100. Hello.
no, yeah.
In the world.
In the world. But it's
Give yourself credit. Come on. Even I mean I don't know. Like I know being number 1 is, but top 100. You're 100 person. You, out of 100 people, you're in there
that is
in the world. That's incredible.
I don't see it.
And think about how many people there are in this world.
Yeah. Oh, I guess so. But pretty much from then, I went back to, so I had another race in US, and that was, when was that? I don't even know when that was.
You were to them just before
I think
the
I think it was like maybe June,
Early
early
June?
June. It would have been not even early, maybe mid-June.
Okay. So we're getting close.
Oh, we're getting close. We have like maybe 3 weeks before qualification period ends. So I have another race in US. I go to that meet. Now that meet was a low ranking meet, so it wasn't great in points wise, but I happened to drop a second in my PB. So I went from a 56. So dropped down from a 57 at the start of the season to a 56. Dropped down from a 56 to a 55. So I'm now like a second away. Now, second's still a massive time from that auto qual, but I ran won that meet, and I then from US had a race in Bahamas.
Then back to the Bahamas. Yeah.
So this was within, I think, a week later. I was in Bahamas after the US. Not even. I don't think. I think it was the 16th.
I've got some sort of stats here,
Okay.
and tell me if it's
16th. I think
you
it's
competed in 5 races
Yes,
in 5 countries within 16 days.
yeah. That's the
Some-
story we're going with.
Is that something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much what it was is that I went from the US to Bahamas. Went to Bahamas, won that race, ran another good time PB. So every race I'm running a PB.
You're shaving
I'm
away.
chasing those seconds, and it's just that. Then there's pretty much no races in the US anymore, so I had to then jump on a plane and go to Europe. So my first time so last time I was in Europe was 2016. So this is my first time in a while that I've been in the US. I mean, back to Europe. Went by myself. I was fortunate enough that my coach had connected me with someone to stay in Madrid. Now,
Rose Monday not by your side.
Rose is not there following me around. She actually tore her hammy earlier that year, so
Okay.
she wasn't mobile enough to.
Mm.
So I was doing this all through FaceTime with her. So we were chatting around. So just having the confidence to do this all by myself as well is a massive thing. But yeah, we decided to jump on a plane. Now I had one race definitely confirmed, which was Switzerland, Geneva on the 21st of June.
Mm-hmm.
We were on standby for a Madrid race, which was on the 20th of June. So we decided to go to Madrid. We had a connection in Madrid. We'll stay there after Bahamas. And I get the call up, I think a day before the Madrid race that someone pulled out. So
Another defining moment of
Another
luck.
defining
Call it
moment.
luck, being there at the right time in Europe
It's
and all that
literally
stuff.
taking opportunity as they come and just going with it because
Yeah.
of that. Like I said, none of these races were fully planned out. Like I wasn't like finished relays and was like, yep, I have these races planned out. It was like I just took an opportunity and like a chance to continue to better myself and continue to race. So I remember I went to that Madrid race. Now I just went into every race thinking this is the last opportunity I can potentially run because you never know what. Instead of thinking about what's the next race I have after, I went into every race and I ran my heart out every race and pretty much went to Madrid, PB'd in Bahamas. A few days later, went to Madrid, PB'd again. Then I was on a flight the next morning. That same day I was racing. Geneva didn't go as planned as I wanted to. And
A roller coaster of emotions might be insane. And you don't have 24 hours to process this whole emotion. The rule has gone out the window, really.
yeah, like even after my Madrid. So my Madrid race was at 8 p.m. at night. Now, that's a lot later than I'm usually like racing at. So I have a Red Bull. I get home to like the apartment that I was staying in. I couldn't sleep that morning. Like I couldn't sleep till I think 2:00 that morning. Like I was literally buzzing. And the fact that that race, I felt so close to the automatic standard that I was like, why did it not happen? So I literally had to get up that morning. I think it was like 5:30. The Uber was like planned out. I made sure I scheduled myself in. So I think I had about 3 or 4 hours sleep that morning, that night. And I was racing the next day. Like I was on a flight that morning from Madrid to Geneva, got off the plane, chucked my luggage in the hotel where we stayed, like the meet was held, and had to get my shit together and head to the track because I raced at 1:00 the next day. So it was less than 24 hours. I had another race. Now that race was okay. I still didn't run for what the points I needed to. I didn't run that great. I finished that race and I just walked off the track and I said, "What's next?" to my coach. Now we had nothing planned out that week. We had nothing else planned after that race. Now she just rang up her connection that she had. So it was like I kind of had a manager, but I didn't have like a necessarily manager. Just I had someone in my pocket that was potentially helping me.
Yes.
And he kind of was invested in my journey because he was like, "Well, you're doing like well."
Yeah.
So there was another race the following day after Geneva that was in Poland. And I looked at the start list and I was like, I looked at the world rankings. Now at that time I was sitting, I think 37th in the world. So I jumped from 100 to I think 70th, from 70th to 60th, and now I was in the top 40. So this dream was coming Olympian was definitely there, but I knew that all the girls that were in that Poland meet were just behind me on the ranking system.
Okay.
So the fact that if I wasn't in that race, I knew I'd be bumped out.
Okay.
So I messaged.
So it's as well as obviously doing your best. It's a strategic move, right?
It's massive.
Thinking, okay, who's in front of me
Yep.
in the world rankings? How can I
Yeah.
better myself, but also get myself on that ranking to a better number? So you're looking at other people.
And obviously you're still trying to you're still trying to get that automatic standard as well. But the thing is that to get that automatic standard, you want to be the best shape you can. And I've really been racing around the world. So I obviously me getting a perfect race is not going to really be as doable as chasing a world ranking system. So I remember I called up Rose and she was like, and then I called up that manager guy, I think a few minutes later, and I was like, hey, what are the chances of me getting into this race? He said, give me a moment. He gets back to me within a few minutes. He said, someone has pulled out of that race. I have been able to get you in. It's lane 1. Now, lane 1 is the worst lane possible to have just because how tight the bends are.
Yes.
I said, I don't care. I said, I will take any opportunity I can. Now, I could have been upset. I could have been yelling that I got lane 1. I didn't care. I decided to get a good night's sleep there, stay in Geneva, get a good night's sleep, wake up and fly the next morning. Now, I think the race the next day was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a bit more time than having to rush as quickly. I remember going to that race. I kept everything short, sharp, quick, more like intentional because obviously my body was still trying to recover from the last 2 days of flying and everything like that. And I remember just like calling Rose and I was like, I'm just going to have fun. And she was like, Alanah, this is your Olympic this is your Olympic final. And the fact that like there's rounds in the Olympics. So it's just like take that as an opportunity, like take that mindset of you going, if you're going to be at the Olympics, you're going to have to, back up round after round. And that's okay. I took the pressure of not so much I have to qualify for the Olympics. I just went into that race thinking, I've got nothing to lose. Like I'm literally just going to go out here and run. And I went into that race with so much love and passion and joy that I literally ran so well. And I was just so happy how I held myself. And I crossed that line first and I walk over with a cardboard thing and it says meet record. So I did not only just run and win the meet, I got the meet record after my third race, pretty much walked off that track knowing that I have qualified for the Olympics. And that in itself is the most defining moment of my career, I think, at the moment. So yeah, obviously there was still time between that other people could qualify, but I have moved myself, I think, to the 33rd in the world. So I had a bit of buffering room because the thing is that a lot of countries had their nationals the following week and Australia has their nationals so early, so we don't have that chance to kind of do that. So obviously there was still this uncertainty that I'd qualified, but it wasn't necessarily I've qualified for the Olympics. It's like I have done everything I possibly could. So there's no what ifs. That was the kind of thing is I have literally done everything I possibly could as an athlete to put myself in that best position. And if that's not the best, that's fine. I will accept that. But I was just proud to be able to not only walk off that track and produce amazing times round after round, but also how I held myself. I did not complain whatsoever. I even lost my luggage at one point. You think the story's crazy? Yeah, my bag didn't arrive in Poland.
Oh my God. And you're there with all your gear, I presume, or whatever.
I know that when you're traveling, you want to make sure you have your stuff in your backpack.
Sure.
So I have
So
my spikes, my
sharp items on board. Does that not come into play? Is that no? Okay, yeah. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, the
luggage got lost. You got your main stuff with it, and you're just kind of okay. I've got my gear here. Off I go.
Yeah, half the time I wasn't even fueling myself correctly. People chocolate croissants on my journey.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, carbs is carbs, and I need to fuel myself somehow. And some food is better than no food.
That's incredible. So you qualify for the Olympics. You have that moment.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that journey was like? Getting on that plane with people, getting that uniform, getting that, what does that feel like when you're up? Because obviously I followed you on social media and you shared a lot on social media.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the behind the scenes. And I've seen that one where, the bed was made out of cardboard or something like that. But can you tell us a bit more about that lead up to when you got to Paris and was that journey phase?
So I planned. So obviously we had staging camp. So obviously the Olympics can't hold every single athlete at the Olympics straight away. So we had a staging camp at the south of France for the athletics team. So we obviously didn't go to opening ceremony. We were in a holding camp that first week because athletics is the second week of the Olympic program.
Sure.
So what happens is the swimmers come in the first week, swimmers done, they get kicked out, athletics comes in.
Okay.
Starts the circulation. So we had a staging camp, I think it was on the 21st of July, because August, we're in July now, trying to get cunts.
Yeah.
But so I had a race prior to that just to get my legs racing again, to kind of change up I had some strategies that I wanted to place out. Now that race was in Florida against another one of my massive icons was Dalal Muhammad. So she's the previous record holder to Sam McLaughlin. I think she's someone that has defined, she has made a statement for 400 meter hurdles. She is the icon of 400 meter hurdles. Even so many of us athletes respect her so massively. And the fact that leading into my Olympics, I got to race against her, and I actually won that race against her. It was a massive confidence booster leading into it. Now, fast back 4 years, my college actually set up a meeting during COVID time. My coach set up a FaceTime with us athletes with her, just to kind of keep us like motivated.
Yeah.
And I actually said 4 years ago that I was like, I will see you at the next Olympics. Like, how crazy is that?
Did you tell her that afterwards? Like, did
No,
she have remembered that? And I was,
she probably won't. And I didn't want to say, because she didn't really run the best race. I didn't want to like upset her more. But the fact that like I said that and I manifested that 4 years ago
that's so cool.
is insane. And my coach has this recording to say that
Wow.
of I will see you at the next Olympics.
What a moment.
And I got to then, like, she obviously didn't qualify for the Olympics because she wasn't having the greatest season. But the fact that I actually got to like race her leading up to the Olympics was a massive thing. So go to Florida before like the training camp, have a massive confidence booster. During that time, leaving Florida, there was a Microsoft outage of flights. So I fly to Atlanta Airport, and I was stuck in Atlanta Airport for 24 hours. I slept on the floor leading up to the Olympics.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So everyone thinks that the story, like,
It's,
the story just keeps going.
They don't see that. I mean, you don't see that part because, the bit I was going to touch on, sort of leading on to next, once you get there, the interesting part is that, the what we see surface level is we see what you put on social media. We see what we see on TV. Here's Alanah, like we can feel the energy in Australia and all that. But, like,
I don't know that I slept on an airport floor
you don't see that bit.
leading up to the Olympics. Literally, I've never felt
And let's be honest,
in my life.
Let's be honest, unless you're in that field of, the athletic world, I mean, you're not getting special treatment.
Mm-mm.
People, we've got to be like, okay, just another person on the floor, right? So,
Look, at that time, there was like nothing I could do. Like, I had no control, and I had to like, because the Microsoft outage happened, all the hotels were booked up. My flight didn't actually get cancelled till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So they like kept delaying it. And by the time they actually cancelled, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I would ring up some hotels to see if I could find a bed, but nothing happened. So I was like, well, I guess this is what it is. So let me just go find a corner with everyone else that had the same situation.
Yeah.
Like, I was not special. Why do I get special treatment over someone else?
do you remember the first moment that you stepped into that, into the stadium
Oh my gosh.
in your Aussie kit?
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment?
Yeah. Like, that is such a. So obviously we get to go on the track before and warm up and things like that, and you're amazed about it. But the moment you go there for that first round, that prelim kind of round, and the stadium is packed, like 80,000 people, and it's filled. The roar.
You never experienced something like that.
I've never who's ever experienced that? We don't even get that at an AFL game. Let alone like.
Yep, true.
So I remember leading into it. Obviously, everyone says like, make sure you enjoy. You're there obviously to do a job, but at the same time, enjoy it. And I remember like I'm focused. I'm in a bubble. I'm in this like bubble of focusing, keeping, going through my rhythm, going through my race plan. And I get to the start line and I put my blocks out, go practice over the first hurdle, come back to the start line. And I took this moment to like kind of take it in. And I can feel like I have a bubble around me. I can feel the bubble expanding and I can just feel the energy. And I'm like, no, come back in, come back in.
Wow.
Like it was just so crazy that I literally was like, nah, I'm here to kind of come back in. So that in itself was crazy. In that, and the first round was good, but it wasn't great. I think just my nerves got the better of me, and the fact that last kind of 100 meters coming into that final. But hey, still with the Olympics, we have two chances. We have like the first round, and we have they added a new thing called the repechage round. So what happens is the first round, if you don't automatically go to the semifinal, you have a second chance, which I think is amazing because like at the end of the day, I have two opportunities to run in front of my friends, my family, the people that came to support me, people back home in Australia that are supporting me. So that alone was just like an amazing opportunity to race twice an Olympic thing. Now, my second race is something that I'm massively like proud of. I don't know if you saw that race.
Well, I did watch it, and it's just to tell us through that process and that emotion of you going through that second round or that second opportunity.
That second opportunity, second race. So my first race, I went out a bit too hard. So I wanted to be a bit more reserved the second race, just because the first round, because obviously there's different tactics you can run a 400 hurdle. So I tried to be a bit more relaxed the second round. And I actually was like coming into that last like 120 meters to go. I was not even up where the top girls were. So I remember coming off hurdle 7, which is just around that bend. And I was like, this is my race to lose. Like I remember telling myself in my head,
In that moment.
I have this distinguished, I know exactly where it was on the track. I know exactly what the state, like I can feel myself telling myself this moment, like this is yours to lose. And I don't know what it was, but I just like changed gears and this drive and momentum just went through me. And that last 100 meters, I ran the best 100 meters of my life.
That's so cool.
And I kind of like was just chasing the girl that was in front, and there was another girl that was obviously chasing as well. So there's 3 girls coming to the finish line, and it was pretty much like so close of a tie that we kind of no one really knew at straight away. So they were able to distinguish that the French girl had won the race.
Yeah.
But obviously with the repechage race, it's automatic top 2, and that's it. Doesn't matter what time you run. It's just whoever has the first 1-2 of that race
Yeah.
goes automatically to semifinal. Now, when I say the stadium went dead silent, it was like this defining moment that me and the Belgium girl, I think Belgium, yes, she's from Belgium, yes. Me and her,
Producer Riley can get the facts
yeah,
out.
she can get there. Me and her came together and we condoled each other. We were just holding each other, and it
Understand that.
felt like 10 minutes. Like it was, they could not decide. Now, the fact that they couldn't decide for a 400 meter, like you can usually decide at 100 meters. Like the 100 meters, they were able to decide down to the hundredth of a second that who went through, but they couldn't distinguish who it was, so they gave us the exact same time. Now, I don't know if people watch my other podcasts and stuff, but I pretty much say like I actually didn't know that I made the semifinal. Like when they put the results up on the screen, her name was above mine, so I just looked at top 2. I didn't see like the first those rankings, or I didn't see anything. I just saw her name was above mine.
Yeah.
In the fact that I was able to hold myself with pride and honor, and I congratulated her, is something that I like. People think that my best achievement was making the semifinal. My best achievement for me personally is how I've been able to hold myself in every competition I have. I've been true to myself. I've held myself and be proud to represent Australia is something that I am more proud of than obviously making a semi-final. But I walk off the track and she comes up to me and she's like, "You've actually qualified. Like, what? Like, no, you made it as well." And I was like, "No, I haven't." And she's like, "No, look." So I literally didn't know if I actually made it. Like I wanted someone to say like, "You've qualified."
Yeah.
Like people said yes and stuff. So I went up to my team manager because she was like, just before the media zone, there's like a media zone. And I was like, "Can they take this away from me? Like, is this it? Or is this like," because I wasn't sure. Like they've never taken 2 people in or 3 people into the race. So for me, that was a massive defining moment to make the semi-final, to obviously go through that experience and to share that moment with everyone, back home and everything. And then obviously I make the semi-final. And I was that one, because obviously they have to add some, usually there's only 8 girls in a race. They obviously had to add, there's 9 lanes on a track, but they only use like 8 of them. So they put me in lane 1. Now, when I went out there, the blocks weren't there. Like my block starts.
I do remember seeing this.
Yes.
There was nothing there.
There's nothing there. Everyone
Because they were confused because
by
of how many. Yeah, that's right. So did that throw you off?
Oh no, I took it as an opportunity.
Okay.
I took an opportunity to step back and just enjoy the stadium, because obviously I wasn't able to enjoy it the first round. And I have done everything I can. Like this race, the semi-final, was just not so much who cares, but like this is for me.
Yes.
This is now for me.
Yeah.
So I got to take that opportunity of, my blocks aren't there. I could be freaking out. I could have done whatever. But instead, I took a step back and I was like, look where I am. Like, holy crap. Look where I am.
That's incredible.
Instead of taking a negative, I turned it into a positive.
Yeah. So you ran that semi-final?
I ran a semi-final. I had great.
You ran in the semi-final of the Olympics?
Yeah. I finished 20th overall. 22nd.
So what do you, I mean, the wave of emotion of it, obviously you didn't quite make it to the final.
I don't care. That was my goal.
But did you feel that roller coaster ride?
Oh, to think that
did you almost have a flashback memory of like all the things you've done? You think, I've just got to the semi-final. There's less than 1%.
Less than 1%. People, like the fact that I was a nobody less than a year ago, and now I'm performing better than people that even on the Australian team that I thought were higher, not so much in my event, but other events that I put more on a pedestal, and they weren't making semifinals. I was like, holy damn. And the fact that I was able to perform and execute, I ran a PB at the Olympics. Like, who can say they ran a personal best under that pressure, under that atmosphere, and held myself the way I did? Is just, yeah.
So you're riding a high at that time.
Oh, yeah. Massive high.
And how long did that high last?
To that moment I got back to America. Yeah.
Well, how long was that?
So I pretty much finished the Olympics. The closing ceremony and everything happens. I pretty much jump on a plane back to America. Now, I decided to go back to America because I knew personally that if I went back to Australia straight away, I would have been bombarded with friends, family. I needed 2 weeks to mentally just breathe because I just went
Interesting.
go, 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 go.
Most
so
people
long.
would have done the opposite.
Yeah. Why? I need time for me, and I knew that. I needed time for me to process what has just happened. I have been mentally just pushing myself mentally. Physically, I probably could have kept going. Like, my body was, but mentally, like, to having to just do what I just did, I needed a mental break. So I was selfish in the fact that I went back to America just to breathe. It was summertime in America. Of course, I'm going to go back there, get some margaritas, tan by the pool. Who wouldn't?
Exactly.
It was winter in Australia.
yeah.
Like, so it took some time for me. And I'm actually really happy that I did, because I was then able to come back and process what was happened. And then when I went back to friends and family, I could then celebrate and enjoy enjoy successes instead of trying to figure out that mental side of things while also dealing with, oh my God, friends and family. Because, it's a lot. Like, you come back and it's like your friends, your family, everyone, people that you don't even know about. Like, that was the crazy thing, is making the Olympics. I had messages left, right, and center from anyone and everyone, which is, for me, I loved it. And the fact that I was just happy to be, for them to be a part of my life and to have someone now. But it's also the fact that people that I haven't spoken to for 10, 15 years were messaging me.
Yeah.
And I was like overwhelmed with that side.
That's crazy.
So,
But so you take a moment for yourself.
Yeah.
After the incredible roller coaster journey leading up to the Olympics, being in the Olympics, getting to the semi-final, you have a moment to yourself.
Yeah.
But what goes up's got to come down.
Yeah, of course. Like,
How did you deal with that? Did you feel that come down? Did you feel like all the highs gone or going, now it's going down? What's next?
So, like, leading up to the Olympics, obviously there was a lot of, I had a really good story to share. Obviously the marketing's, 5 races in 5 different countries in 16 days, 3 of those, like, that's such a marketable story. So I had a lot of media presses leading up to the Olympics.
Can I just ask, was that a tactic?
In what sense?
In regards, you saying that's a good marketing story, you got a marketing background.
no.
Did you think, okay, I've got a bit of a story here, like, to be able to
I
push it?
never thought that. If anything, I was trying to market myself to Red Bull, because I literally was like, this is a perfect marketing strategy right now. I was drinking Red Bull during my journey. Red Bull gives you wings. I was flying around America. They didn't jump at that. And I was like, cool, whatever. But no, it was never a marketing strategy. If anything, I knew that the Olympics was a good opportunity to market myself. But I made sure there was a balance between marketing myself and focusing on my sport as well. So I just dedicated a certain amount of time on my phone to either responding to messages or marketing myself, because at the end of the day, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're presented this opportunity to market yourself, and having that background.
Do you ever have a moment there you think, okay, so you're so hyper-focused on getting that personal best or getting to the finals at the moment at the Olympics?
Yeah.
And we briefly spoke about before coming onto the podcast, the whole thing afterwards. Like, because you're mentioning now to market yourself. So how do you overcome that potential struggle of, like, okay, so Olympics are done and dusted. You can almost fast forward a year. You could, for those that are in that field, they will know who won the gold medal. But I feel that, like, unless you win that gold medal, you kind of get lost. You kind of get lost, as in, like, you don't probably get the recognition, or you go back to normal, right?
Well, yeah, massively, especially because I didn't realize, like, people just think after the Olympics, we're just going to, like, there's nothing else. Like, so many people are like, oh, so you're going to go for the next Olympics. And it's like, well, actually,
That's 4 years away.
I was like, I have races in between now and then.
Yeah.
They just think that we just train for the Olympics. And it's like, there's other races that are actually more important. Like, well, this year's World Championships, which is actually probably just as high ranking as the Paris. It's just we don't have as much media attention to it as much. But yeah, when I finished the Olympics, the fact that I was a semifinalist, I really thought there would be brand deals knocking at my door left, right, and center, and for how much media and stuff was coming at my door and how much I had, I went into that Olympics with 40,000 followers. I came out with over 100K followers. So just like that progression of social media platform and then having the success of my performance, I really thought there'd be a lot more opportunities after the Olympics. But at the end of the day, no one cares because the Olympics is over. So that status of Olympian is now irrelevant.
That's hard to swallow, right?
I'm massive. So it's.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just taking a moment to take it in because you're at the top of the world.
Yeah.
And then it's almost that head. No one cares now.
No one cares.
And so we know for people that are close to you, your friends, family, people that followed you, and people that are into this sport will know, the journey, and you're sharing this story here. What do you think you would do different to try and maintain yourself more relevant in the social media realm, I guess, post Olympics? So if you were to go again, because potentially there'll be opportunity to go again, right?
So my goal, I wouldn't necessarily change anything. Everything is, at the end of the day, I don't think I'd ever change anything. That's my outlook in life, is like, it's not so much what would I change, it's what would I use for future now. So now it's like, okay, I have 4 years to create a brand for myself, to make myself relevant. So for me now, it's what can I do now to make that year of the Olympics more of a breeze? So for me, it's now getting into like other platforms, being more present on social media, creating a brand for myself. Okay, cool. Who am I as a brand? Now, I'm an athlete, but I'm also a model. So that's something that I'm massively trying to get more into. Now, before I use kind of like modeling as like a creative outlet. No, I am going more ham onto modeling, and now I am defining myself as a model, because before I didn't really class myself as like a model. I just kind of did it because I enjoyed it as a creative outlet. I think it's also important to have creative outlets as an athlete or other hobbies. That I know my worth now. I know that I am a talented model, and I know how I can execute that. So that's something that I bring now to my brand, is like, yes, I can also pose in front of a camera. I am getting more into public speaking, doing more podcasts, showing that I'm not just, a pretty face. I can also educate myself, speak properly, have a meaningful message. So it's sharing more of my story and sharing more behind the scenes and what makes me me. And that's all I can do. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I could say like I do it right now, but I'm not trying to make everything happen now. I'm trying to set myself up for 4 years down the track. So,
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get more into other ways. And it's like, at the end of the day, how am I going to support myself? My sport doesn't pay. So how am I going to support myself financially to that stage? So after this year, I've decided maybe I should get into a bit of work. What does that mean? For me, I'm trying to maybe brand myself a bit more, maybe try and get more into personal training, sharing my knowledge of sport and the fitness. And
you're kind of doing that with your vlog at the moment.
yeah, so I'm showing my
Feel
vlog.
free to promote the
Oh
vlog.
yeah, my vlog,
Put-
Alanah Yukich. So I'm trying to get into YouTube, because obviously that's where a lot of money is. Then versus Instagram. Instagram's more of a branding kind of situation. So I'm understanding that YouTube is more of a, insight to that and sharing a bit more behind the scenes. Now, I'm doing this on my own right now. It's the fact that I'm videoing it myself, editing it myself. So eventually I'd like to maybe get some more help into that. But right now I don't have the finances to support myself in that sense. But I'm bringing out more fitness, videos, ab routines.
I have to admit, I did watch your ab routine, and those mountain climbers, like, I don't know, like the speed of the way you go on them, I was like, I don't know, I could give you, if you could make it a beginner's version, I'd be well.
Keep tuned, because that's what I have in the works right now. So I'm trying to still use my platform to educate other people. So I think right now, because I'm traveling a lot still, I need to find some way to support myself. And I'm thinking potentially I'm going to lead out into bringing myself like a fitness program or a fitness platform for myself and for other people to potentially challenge them as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. If you had any advice to give to a junior, knowing how social media is so volatile at the moment, and there's so many different outlets that people can lean into, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Lemonade, all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, so much.
What advice would you give them if their dreams and aspirations to get to the Olympics? What one piece of advice you'd give them to build their personal brand?
And obviously, not everyone's comfortable in front of a camera. And I have to understand, like, not everyone has those strengths as well. So creating a personal brand is definitely more challenging than other people. Now, I just was fortunate enough to have that kind of bit more modeling side of a background to bring to it. But I think make it fun. Like,
Interesting.
enjoy. At the end of the day, like, it's a way to express yourself. It's a way to have fun. And like even now, I question myself, should I be getting into this, YouTube and things like that? And when I'm editing, I'm like, does people even care? But at the end of the day, like I was saying before, like if one person can take something away from this, that's 1%, that's one person more than before. And you never know who that person might know and what lead opportunities that might lead to something else. Because at the end of the day, the world is connected somehow, and you don't know what opportunities or what person, if someone knows someone, that could lead to another potential opportunity. And I think that's just the way the world is. It's all about connections and networking.
We've got a bit of a tradition on this podcast.
Yeah.
Although there's at this current moment of this recording, there's only one podcast out, but we've got multiple coming out. So you may have watched the first one with Michael, but the tradition we're trying to build and incorporate is for you to give the listeners or viewers, whoever's watching this on whatever platform, a challenge that they can do that can better themselves, whether it's in the athletics world, whether it's in the branding aspect. What challenge would you give the viewer or listener, right, that they can do to better themselves?
I wouldn't say it's like so much a challenge, but I think if you have an idea or something creative that comes into your head, either write it down straight away or action it straight away. Because the moment you put it onto the side or you put it out of sight, out, you've already lost opportunity. I think it's also
So write it down.
Write it down
Yeah.
or action it straight away, because at the end of the day, someone else is doing the exact, is thinking continuously. So for me, I have a journal inside of my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is just a thought journal. It's not so much, I have obviously a few journals to one's more of an athletics one. This one's just a creative journal, and I'll have it on the side of my bed, and any thought that comes through my head, I'll jot it down. Now, it can be stupid, it can be crazy, because at the end of the day, we're scrolling and we're consuming so much content. And you can also be like, oh, what if? It's just more like, just action it, because you don't know. And at the end of the day, it's like, you have to start somewhere. And like me, that's like with YouTube, I was like, oh, should I get into it? And I kind of was questioning, should I, is this first YouTube good? So I have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And you just kind of have to get that camera up and running and just
just
get it done,
just
right?
Get it done.
Yeah.
It's for you. It's for you to look back on. It's not for anyone else. If someone else takes something out of it, it's in a year's time, I can then go back onto that platform and look how much I've grown, or look how much I've changed, or maybe I'm not at that point where I want in my life, and I can look back and look, let me get back to where I was.
That's incredible.
So I don't think it's necessarily a challenge. I think it's more of just do it, action.
Just get it done.
Write it down, manifest,
and be fast. Fast in regards to actioning it. Get it done, because you say someone else in the background, or someone behind you might be going.
For me, I'm not kind of a perfectionist, but I definitely think I'll be editing sometimes, and it's not perfect. But just get it out, because your ideas are going to keep going through. You're going to be, progressing it. And I think the more you can get stuff out there, or just even if it's not out there, just complete something, you can then move on to something else, because something can be bigger and better things, opportunities.
The purpose of this challenge is that is to support the guest in regard to someone out there might be listening, watching, and what you give that tip and that challenge out there is for them to potentially reach out to you and kind of go, hey, I've tried to do this, and they may have a struggle, and you might be able to create a connection with someone, whoever.
Oh, I'm massive about connection.
Give them an opportunity to build a connection with them, but also feel a bit closer to your audience, right? Because I think it's really important.
Keep me accountable as well. Reach out to me and say, Alanah, I haven't seen you post any YouTube. Where are they at? Keep me accountable. First goes back.
I love that.
Goes back to you.
I love that, Alanah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this story. It's been so inspiring to hear the other side of the successes of
Yeah.
the Olympics and how grand that stage is.
Oh, yeah.
And I really appreciate the fact you've gone into depth in regards to the struggles and how you've overcome them.
Yeah.
And I would hope that whoever's listening and watching, they've taken something away from that. So I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much.